Welcome to the Players Ball podcast for ATLians by ATLians. I'm your host, MB. That happens way too often, right? I am Marcus, aka Alex the Great. That man there is MB, aka Matt Simone. Um, and we are back, like full-fledged NFL football is happening as we speak. We had some good college games over the weekend, but you know where we want to go. So we're going to jump right in with hooty hoo. From the gridiron to the hardwood, you know you got to keep your eyes on the birds. Let's talk Hawks. Let's talk Falcons. This is hooty hoo. So I pushed a video on Instagram. Our social media manager, who's doing a little better.
He gets
Not prepared to fire. Still
a B
some
minus.
yeah. But there was a clip. Obviously, last week we did our predictions, not projections. And one of us said the Falcons would win. The other said the Falcons would lose. I think I agree with your points. Obviously, you were the one who predicted accurately. And watching that game, no preseason had an impact in my eyes.
100%. That's one you don't want to be right about.
Right.
But it is very much the MO of our team to not perform week one.
The play calling was oddly reminiscent of the Pittsburgh game last year, to where it seemed like we just weren't trustworthy of the people we had out there to do the job that we needed them to do. Everything was super simple. It was repetitive. There was no creativity. I think Mike McDaniel's probably going to be fired at the end of the season. Maybe we can bring him in, right? I just want somebody with a little more sauce, a little more je ne sais quoi on their play calling, man. And Zach Robinson, at least in game one, he's not the guy. I complained about him last year. I'm just getting my complaints off now, early.
So I was curious, in that clip, I mentioned I thought we were going to lose just like we've lost, last year, the year before, maybe even the year before that. You have to go back to the 2017 season to find an opening game W for the Atlanta Falcons.
2017. Are you sure?
I'm about 99%.
So when we win the opening game, we go to the Super Bowl. So we shouldn't expect the Super Bowl this year, then, is what you're saying.
That is not the correlation that I am making.
1 + 1 = 2, man.
I'm just saying that this team has a history of falling flat early, but we've also for many years now lived with head coaches that didn't believe in starting your starting quarterback and running back and wide receivers in the preseason. And not only that, they've shortened preseason over the years, right? Like you used to get 4 full games, now you're only getting 3. And even under those circumstances, we're still not playing these guys. Yet we're asking them to be game ready come week one. And the proof is in the pudding, right? It's
not easy to do. If you don't have real reps, it's hard to get into game action. Even with the simulated or the what is it? Not simulated practices. What is the when you bring in an opponent?
The joint practices.
Joint practices, yeah. That's not enough, man.
No,
right? You need
I
to
agree.
get out there. I'm thinking in a quarter. And even one of our former coaches has changed. One of our former coaches has changed his tune, right? Dan Quinn started the sophomore stud up there in Washington. Yeah, Jaden Daniels. So, I don't get it. And Raheem is digging in, right? He's not backpedaling on anything. I don't like to say this, but he's starting to remind me of Arthur Smith.
I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Raheem right now. I love his energy. I love his passion, and I love that about him, that he stands on business, right? Like he he is unapologetically himself, right? Like,
Mm.
I can get down with that, but I also have a problem with it when it comes at the sake of our team performing at a level that it needs to perform to get us to where we want to go, right? Like when those two things collide, it's hard not to just want to fire him, for lack of a
Is
better way
there
to put it.
is there a particular moment or instance that's making you feel that way?
I believe we talked about it before, but he was asked and pushed by D. Orlando Ledbetter on playing of the starters in the preseason, and he dug his heels in and was like, it's not worth the injuries. And then you go out and you lay an egg for the seventh straight year. Only second under his regime, but still, like this is. I think this one is bigger because it was a division rival, a division opponent. You
Hmm.
needed to win. You needed to be prepared, and you still had major injuries, right? Like you lost your left tackle. Wait,
Right tackle.
right tackle. I was right the first time. You lost your
Hmm.
right tackle in practice, right? So it's a contact sport. It's a dangerous sport. Injuries happen. When people are at home, not playing. So to try and put bubble wrap on them to protect them, I think is just foolish, uh, and it's not giving us the results we want.
No, not by any stretch of the imagination. I think for me, it's more of a vibe thing, right? When he's in his press conferences, it feels like he's this close to saying like this isn't fantasy football. You remember Arthur Smith saying that like this is fantasy? Like no, dog, it kind of is. Play your best players, get the ball to your best players, utilize them as you should. And I won't say that he's done that poorly, but him digging in his heels. Obviously, the media can't coach for you, right? They shouldn't be making decisions, but you know, I don't know. I'm not calling for his job yet, but and I'm still hopeful for the team. But having that week one loss, especially to a division opponent, man, it sucks, and I didn't like it.
It's funny. I had a conversation with my mom today, and she was like, "Oh, the Falcons are terrible again, or they just are what they are." And I was like, "Mom, like I don't think one
How
game."
dare you?
No, no, no. Like I didn't go there, but I was just like, I don't think one game, the first game, defines a season, right? Like they still have a lot of games left, and we'll see as the weeks go on. But it is certainly disappointing to lose to a division rival week one, and to lose in the fashion that we lost. Um, Now it wasn't all bad, right? That first quarter, first few drives, dude,
Mm,
we looked like we were shot out of a cannon. Michael Penix was extremely efficient. He was getting the ball to Bijan. Bijan had an electric 50-yard touchdown catch and run. Something he did very well yesterday, catching the ball. He did have a few drops uh, that were inexcusable, but by and large, he was very effective receiving yesterday. And then we saw some defense, um, just kind of, I don't know the best way to put it, but some flashes, I guess, if you
yeah,
will, early. I think you shouted out one on your Instagram stories. But Divine Diablo early on in that game was flying all over the field.
he was everywhere, man. It was very encouraging. Um, but the fact that we could not get. So there was a safety blitz. I heard him on the radio. I think they said it was Xavier Watt. Shout out 92.9 game. Um, that was the only sack we got. Caden Ellis got to him one time. Um, couldn't get him on the ground. I know Baker's a pretty shifty guy, but that was disappointing too. That we didn't record more than one sack.
I will say I messaged you during the game. I said, "Where's the pass rush? We
Right.
invested all this capital, draft picks, and money in Leonard Floyd, Javon Walker, and James Pierce, and I didn't see a single one of them show up on the film." Now I saw a lot of AK getting out of position
Yeah.
and Baker just running by him. So I didn't like that. But
We mentioned that, right? Just containing a quarterback that can use his legs has been a weakness, and they exposed that, right? And we're gonna face a lot of them. Obviously, in our division, Bryce Young doesn't run a ton, but he can get active with his feet. We got Josh Allen, who loves to run. We got him on the schedule. The other ones are, you know,
I mean, Spencer Rattler likes
he
to
can't even
play
throw.
off.
He gonna have to run.
He likes to play off schedule.
Yeah.
Even JJ McCarthy can get busy, which we'll see next week. Um, but yeah, I mean, it is definitely troublesome. Now, I will say, I did like moments that I saw from Xavier Watts. I thought he stood out as far as any of the rookies that got play. Um, but in all, the defensive backs had multiple opportunities for takeaways that we've got to capitalize on. I think Xavier Watts had one. AJ Terrell had another. But there were a few where the defensive back had hands on the ball and we couldn't turn it into an interception.
That was incredibly frustrating. So one of my my season ticket holder friends, right? We sat there and we talked about it, like one of these, because this is towards the fourth. Like man, they had dropped like three at that point. It's like one of these has to convert. We need it so bad, and it just never happened. And because of that, I think that's another reason why we lost. There is a main reason that we can get to, but before we do that, you started shining some light on some good things. um, I didn't hear Elijah Wilkerson's name called that often for being pancaked or being blown by. They didn't have a ton of pressure. There were sacks more than we had, but I thought he held up pretty good,
I
all
thought
things considered.
I thought he played okay. He had two pretty bad false start penalties against him, and then it felt like the game plan we were running away from his side. There didn't seem like there was a whole lot of faith by the OC to be able to run the ball outside to the edge on his side. So that's a little bit discouraging. But all in all, he did, do pretty
So
well.
the other component of that is Vita Vea, right? He's an absolute animal. He's been one of the best defensive tackles in the league for a while now. He's a game wrecker, and I know that they were running away from him, which Dion texted me and was like, "Yeah, Chris Lindstrom is getting abused," and that was one of his main goals. It was either him or the center in most instances, trying to handle Vita Vea. So I mean, all things considered, we would have loved to walk away with the win. I think he did decent. Bijan hitting the home run was good. Um, Devon Diablo, I was very, very pleasantly surprised by that. What other? There wasn't a. I guess there wasn't a whole lot of things that I could call out.
I thought Caden Ellis made a couple good plays. Um, Jesse Bates kind of screwed us, to be honest, on that last touchdown where he bit and left
Mike
Mike
Hughes.
Hughes all alone. I mean, credit to Baker, he makes an absolute dart of a throw to Emeka Ibuka for that touchdown. But you know, that's your all pro safety kind of leaving your corner out to dry there. But yeah, I mean, in total, it looked like the defense was by and large very much the same as it was last year. No QB pressures, maybe a little bit better run defense. I don't think they ran all over us. Um, but yeah,
And
no,
Bucky Irving is really good, so that's something to consider.
yeah, just overall, just a disappointment. But there were flashes, as I said earlier. So there is hope. There is promise. I'd like to see Javon Walker used a little bit differently. I'd like to see James Pierce actually um, record some stats. But
None of this cute stuff, man. Like I saw too much of that. Where they were trying to they didn't have him on the outside. At one point I was talking to the guy. I said, "Who is number can't think of his number now." But it ended up being Zach Harrison was the outside man on defensive line on more than one play. And I'm like that's not if you get an edge to put them on the edge to rush the passer. Why are we being cute? Why are we doing all this? No, keep it simple. One bright spot I wanna just circle back to real quick was Big Penix energy, bro. Like both of his scrambles, obviously he doesn't have the speed or the agility of Michael Vick, but it was reminiscent. The first down that he got, which I will say I called, and I was like, no, 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 that ball was past the line to go or line of game. He was horizontal over for like 5 feet, dog, and he did the same thing. Not as Matrix S, but he did the same thing for that touchdown too.
have you seen the meme out there with the touchdown where it shows like he's on like the 4 yard line and he's diving forward and
Like Space Jam.
yeah, and it's got Michael Jordan with his arms stretched out. Yeah.
Yeah, man. No, that was good. I'm super encouraged. I do think we got the right guy in there, which is encouraging.
Yeah, I mean, I liked, what I saw from Kyle Pitts. I liked what I saw from Ray McLeod. Uh, I thought Drake didn't have his best game, but he was still, you know, good. It's just my expectations for Drake is a little higher, right? Because we've seen what he's capable of, and there were some passes that were very catchable that he did not convert.
The touchdown that's a pass he usually will catch.
Yeah. And then, you know, when Tyler Algier got the ball, he seemed to eat running. And then Bijan catching the ball out of the backfield was was very good at times. Now I was not too happy, and I messaged you during the game. I thought Bijan ran the ball horribly, and I said I kind of blame the offensive line there. I forget you. Did you say you blamed the play call?
Yeah, I mean it was super predictable, right? They were really running. I can see the play in Madden. It's this and that. They were running that between the on the left side between the guard and the tackle. They had to run that play like 10 times.
So it looked like basically Tampa was just queuing on whichever direction Charlie Warner went because that was where we were running the
Yeah,
ball.
that's how you got that out. Yeah.
The fourth and one play call where they ran a dive with Bijan, I thought was a terrible decision. You saw the second time they ran it, they put Tyler Algier in and he converts. I don't think that's a mistake.
He got stuffed on a third though too, right? He did. He definitely ran. He runs between the tackles better than Bijan. I heard somebody doing the Detroit game. They called Gibbs and David Montgomery Sonic and Knuckles.
Mm.
I think we have a very similar backfield in that, right? Bijan is going to hit the Jets, but it wasn't even like they were trying to. I didn't see any tosses. They didn't try to get him outside at all, and we saw what he did on that first play when he's in space, right? You don't want to run straight at Villa, but if you do, I'm with you. You run it with Tyler Algier to throw some stats at you. Bijan went 12 touches for 24 yards, a long of 6 yards.
Mm,
Tyler Algier went 10 for 24, a long of 5 yards. So they between the two of them, they averaged 2.2 yards a carry.
it's terrible. I
It
mean,
was terrible.
what was that? 50 yards on the game.
48. Well, I'm not giving them 50. No rounding.
That's a terrible stat line as a team,
Michael
especially.
Penix had 21, but still, they didn't break 100. I mean, we were one of the best rushing units, right? I think we can do that again. There was a lack of cohesion. And I don't want to just hype Vita Vea like that, right? I don't get off that man's jock strap, but he's a different animal. We won't face anybody as good as him again, probably.
I had the thought earlier today. I was just kind of thinking back to yesterday's game, but I had that thought like, when's the last time the Falcons had a D tackle that was a game wrecker like that? Um, obviously we lost Grady Jarrett this offseason. He's playing tonight in Chicago, making his Chicago debut. But I mean, he was a force, but he wasn't a game wrecker the way Vita Vea can be, the way Nadama Kinsu, the
Aaron
way
Donald.
Aaron Donald, Jalen Carter, like those guys are menaces in the middle. And I saw some, flashes from Rook Ororo, but I also saw him make boneheaded mistakes like the late hit penalty on Baker
Mhm.
Mayfield late in that game that helped him on that what would be their game winning score.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think before Big Grady had his injury, he was definitely climbing into that echelon. He was getting close. There were more than one talking head that said, he was there behind Aaron Donald as like the second best defensive tackle. But obviously that was before Jalen Big Spit before Big Spit got in the league. Real quick sidebar on that. What do you think about that?
So I think it's a terrible decision by Jalen. Like it's just a
Mhm,
horrible look. But I do think Dak kind of instigated it.
mhm.
Now, we're grown men. I get that, there's a lot of trash talk that happens on the football field. Um, but come on, man. You know, Dak may have spit at the ground, like kind of in Jalen's direction and kind of
Yeah.
looked at him and like gave
It
him
was
gave him
I
gave
kinda
him the
like
face. Um,
it.
but Jalen should have held his composure and he almost lost him that game.
I mean, at least spit on the ground. Spitting on a person is still unacceptable by any means.
Yeah.
Spitting on the ground in front of you, it's disrespectful, but it's not the same.
Throw hands, man. I mean,
Yeah, you at least get to play. All right, push him.
yeah. Get his face, talk
That was
that
wild
talk, keep
though.
the
Yeah,
saliva in the body.
the character slander that came in there afterward on Jalen was crazy. I don't know if you've seen any of the tweets or the comments under the spitting, but it was like, this guy's a murderer. Why put it above him? Like, yikes! Come on now. Like, didn't actually kill anybody. That's not a fair characterization of him. He was racing through the streets as a kid. Completely not okay, irresponsible, all of that. But
Mistake. Fatal
yeah,
mistake.
yeah, he didn't. Yeah, yeah, fatal mistake. But to call him a murderer is crazy.
Um so without getting too deep into it, one of the the things that our preacher preached about on Sunday, the moral teachings from the Sermon on the Mount. Whereas, like prior to the New Testament, you had the Jewish people with their covenant with God and the legalistic, teachings from the Old Testament. And one of the points he was making was, the truths of these moral teachings, and like whether or not you believe in Christ or not, as the Messiah, what have you. There are certain truths that I think if we all just looked at and held true, the world would be better. And one of them is like people's anger and hatred, and like what Jesus basically taught was, if you're not angry, which rage, wrath is considered a sin, like the world is a better place, and that is,
Yeah.
I think we can all agree there. All that to say that people just want to be mad. They want to bring these kids down. They want to bring everybody down. Like social media, it's just a cesspool for anger and hatred, and it's just a bad place. And
You took the words right out of my mouth with social media. I don't remember it being as bad when we were less connected. Right now, people you see so much that so many people. If I guess it feels like so many people are doing better than you is what I would equate it to. Right, it's so much easier to try to keep up with the Joneses that now you gotta hate, and it doesn't make any sense. I completely agree.
yeah. So no, what Jalen Carter did on Thursday night was not okay. The incident that happened post the championship celebration, that behavior is not okay, right? Like drinking, driving, speeding, reckless behavior is not okay. Uh, but just that pure hatred against another human being is not okay either. And was the old saying, two wrongs do not make a right. So I will not subscribe to the bash on Jalen Carter's character because he made poor decisions. Hopefully, he will take those lessons and grow from them and move on.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I haven't seen any surefire punishment coming down the pipe for him. I mean, he was ejected from the game. To me, that's probably enough. He didn't do anything that was spitting on somebody is gross. Don't do that shit. But these are football players, these big tough guys. Spit in his face, getting back out there. It would
Yeah.
have been crazy for him to lose that game if they would have lost the game because he wasn't there. Because they changed their game plan completely. Dak said that
Um, they basically abused the Eagles defense most of the game. But
they looked young and inexperienced.
I think the only further punishment that I've seen that has some legitimacy is fine. And if that's what the league wants to do, look, I think that's well within their rights.
Yeah, hit them pockets, man.
A
He rich.
suspension,
Hit him hard.
a suspension doesn't seem like. I think that would be overstepping, and I also think that the NFL Players Association would fight it to the point where he would never actually serve a suspension for that.
Hmm.
We'll see.
Yeah, you're probably
Back to the
right. Had that long to
Falcons.
decide. Back to the Falcons. Woo-doo! Oh man, so there were two bad things, uh, not including the loss itself. I thought you froze. Losing Drake London at the end of the game, we needed him. If it's him running that route that Cordero Hodge ran, and I don't know if he gave up on it, he didn't think he was getting the ball, or he thought he was going to get a flag. Drake London catches that ball, and we win. Um,
I don't
and I
think he
haven't
gave up
seen
on
a
it. I think he lost his footing. Um,
But I mean, literally, if he just looks for it, it was a perfect ball. It would if he just stuck his hands out.
It might have been a
That's how
different
good
pass that
Tampa
I'm thinking of. The one, maybe it was Casey Washington. There was one pass where it ended up being overthrown. I don't think the ball was actually overthrown. I think the receiver got his legs tangled up with the DB and started to fall before they could get to the spot.
But was it in the left corner of the end zone
Yeah.
or by that pylon? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Watch that one again, dog. Like, look at if it all minimum effort. He gave none after that, and I don't know what
The
it's about. I'm
one
not
that
trying
I'm thinking of, he was full arms stretched out.
to. Yeah, Cordero could have caught this ball for sure.
Uh,
I could have caught that
it
damn
might have
ball.
been the play before what I'm thinking of.
So there was a play before with Casey Washington, but he got lit up.
Hmm.
A fair and legal
Yeah, yeah.
attack at the ball. So I think we're talking about the same play.
I think we both need to go watch it again. But yeah, so losing Drake London definitely hurt. He's day to day shoulder sprain. Hopefully, he's ready to go Sunday against Minnesota. Because outside of him, our receiving core is pretty thin. Now, I liked what I saw from Casey Washington. I liked, flashes I saw from Ray Ray. We spoke about all that earlier, but we still need a number one, and we need that big guy and Drake. We really need Darnell Mooney back. Um,
100%.
so if we don't have Darnell or Drake, it's going to be very difficult, especially if we can't run the ball the way we ran it against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I think I 100% agree with you. I don't know how close Darnell Mooney was to even playing this week. He got no reps during training camp, so who knows if he's even back. And I honestly don't want to rush Drake back, which means that we're gonna have to lean heavily on Mr. Pitts, man. I mean, I wouldn't even be mad at throwing Bijan out there. Give him that old Julio bubble screen. Give him a couple shots at that, man, and see what he can do with it.
Now, there was something I saw in that goal line stand or that goal line um, series towards the end of the game that we ended up scoring because Michael Penix with his legs. But they had Bijan and Tyler Algier in the backfield. Now, I hated the actual play call itself, but I loved the idea of the two of them in the backfield together. I wouldn't mind seeing more of that. Or, as you said, throw Bijan out in the slot and have Tyler, back there as the eye back. So they're gonna have to get creative,
Yeah,
especially if Drake is gonna miss any significant time.
yeah. I do like seeing them on the field, specifically in the backfield together, because that just creates a conundrum.
I
All
just
right, who's gonna get the ball?
in that particular instance, it was the same thing I was talking about earlier. Whichever way Charlie Warner went is where we ran the ball. So it was just
Mm,
overly predictable. Hopefully, we can get away from some of those tendencies and you know have a little bit better success with the two of them in the backfield.
yeah. I said last week that we beat the Bucks handedly. We did not. Well, and when we went to Tampa, it was a solid win. I think it was a multi-score win. But the one that we had here, we did put up big points. But the difference in that game and this one was Koo made the kick to send it to overtime, and then this one he missed it, and that was after he touched the upright on one extra point. He completely doinked it on another, and when they iced him, to tie the game, I knew. Like everyone in the crowd was just like holding their breath. And from the sideline, you can't really see if it goes in or not.
It,
But when they called it, it was like, oh god, everyone knew he was gonna miss that kick.
it looked close, at least from the TV angle. Like he kind of kicked it over the upright,
Mm.
but just a hair right of the upright.
Yeah, his first kick that went in was just a sliver inside of the left. So the thought was that he overcorrected and booted it too far to the right. And I can't imagine what he's going through. Um, knowing his career is on the line.
Yeah. It was
That
a
said, I don't think he should get any more chances.
it was a 5 point win at Tampa last year, so it was still a pretty close game.
But, mm,
Um, but I'm with you on Koo. I was quite frustrated. He hasn't been consistent, you know, pretty much into last year. I was talking to somebody, uh, and they made a comment about him being injured, and I was like, "Nah, he's not injured anymore." And I actually watched a clip. He spoke with the media, and he said he was feeling good, felt good into camp, and he has some things he needs to work on. But I don't know that he can have. I don't think we can afford to give him the leash that we gave him last year, where he just missed kick after kick after kick. And then, I mean, that was a big thing for you, right? Like, you really, at the end of the season, were critical of Raheem Morris and his how he handled both the Kirk Cousins situation, but more specifically the Koo situation.
yeah, yeah, 100%. I think it's reminiscent of how I feel about Bobby, not Bobby, Snit,
Bobby 2.0.
and Raciel Iglesias, man. Right? If it's not working, you have to stop doing it. There are other people involved, and I know I'm not at the precipice of priority, right? But if the fans should matter, and that's we care about wins, right? Your loyalty to your guys, I get it. That's what makes people want to play for you. But if they are costing us games, you got to make a change. It's fairly simple to me.
How do you feel about this is off topic, but how do you feel about Rysel getting a reliever of the month in August?
Ridiculous.
I
I
I
don't care if you earned it or not. It doesn't. No.
I put
Closing used to be an art form, dog, and it's not anymore. Anybody can close. Throw any bum out there and see what they can do.
I can't co-sign that
Can they?
statement.
No, no. Okay, let me rephrase it. Not anyone can do it. They will throw anyone out there and see how they do.
There are more opportunities given to non-traditional closers. I'll give you that. But
Who's the best closer in the game right now?
Chapman probably.
Araldis?
Yeah.
A former Brave. Or no, he wasn't with us, right? It was with the
No.
Reds. But that used to be something that I knew closers. I don't know them anymore because they're not. I guess they're not that important. You
Of
know,
there's
baseball
the
has changed. They seem incredibly important, but
yeah, I forget what his name is, but there's the one for the Mets that had, the famous entrance, the do 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 do. You know what I'm talking about.
Diaz.
Yeah. But anyways, I only brought that point up to say, like, I do think that if someone has proven the ability to do something, that they deserve some sort of opportunity to get themselves out of that funk or
Mhm.
whatever, like get themselves back to that level, right? I think they've earned it by their prior proof of being able to do it. But there's a fine line in, like, how long do you give that person until you got to move on to the next, right? Because Like I can't wait for you forever to get it right, because we need results now. And I think
Right.
that's your point.
Yeah, it is. It is. He got the starting job, right? My complaint started mid season last year, and he continued to play until the very end where they finally made a slight change. But he won the starting job in the offseason. He got out there. His first game, he missed a kick that would have sent it to overtime. That is where the domino falls for me. Right? You got another opportunity. That's it.
Yeah.
And
I'm
I feel that way. It's not personal. It is personal because I'm upset that we didn't get the opportunity to go into overtime, but it's also accountability. He is there to do a job. He's not doing his job.
I think
It's
that's for me
something we're concerned about.
the biggest thing is you have one job, right? Your one job is to kick that ball through the uprights when called on. You're called on only a handful of times a game, 3, 4, 5 times. Hopefully a lot for extra points, not so much for field goals, but you only have so many tries per game, and you have to do your job when your number is called. And I saw a statistic earlier that he's like 73% on field goals, like 43 yards or more. And that is not a winning recipe for a kicker. The one thing that we loved about Matt Bryant, Morton Anderson, they were dang near automatic. And
And
that's,
Kuas too for years in his career, but when you have a decline, man, it's hard to come back from that. And I think he's been given the opportunity to do so. Maybe somebody else will give him an opportunity. I don't think that we can afford to wait. Raheem definitely can't wait. Um,
I mean,
his seat after 1 week, I think his seat is warm.
I will say that I think that is a truth that I fully believe that if this season doesn't turn around, which it's only game one, right? Like I said earlier, one game doesn't define a season, but if it doesn't turn around, I think both Raheem and Terry are going to be looking for jobs.
We talked about it before. We're trying to think of a scenario where the GM may have stayed and the coach did not.
Oh,
And
many times under Thomas Dimitrov.
Thomas Mitchell, he was Mike Smith. He was Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
Was he Arthur Smith? They were both fired at the same time. I do remember that. Dan and Thomas were fired at the same time. So far, man, I'm not, not letting go of Terry, dog. And I fully expect them to still have a successful season. Let's be clear. I'm not throwing in the towel for the Falcons. It was super annoying to sit through a game that I felt like I sat through a number of times last year. The first quarter, like when we were on that drive, you should have seen the crowd, bro. It was electric in there. Like everyone waving their flags on third down. People out of their seats in their seats, but standing up in the first quarter. I hadn't seen that in 2 3 seasons, man. So to have all that enthusiasm in the building and it not be rewarded with a victory, it sucks.
I think it stings too, just because it was such a winnable game, right? Like
Yeah,
you make that touchdown to go ahead with like a minute and a half left, and then the defense just lays an egg. They get bailed out multiple times on third down. Like that just hurts. And then we bust our tail to get ourselves in position to tie and even win, and we just can't convert. It definitely stings. But we got a new one coming up next weekend, a night game, the 8:20 kick on Sunday in Minnesota. What do you need to see from this team to get your confidence back?
the first thing that comes to mind is JJ McCarthy on the ground. I need to see some sacks.
I think he's
Period.
been sacked 3 times tonight by the Bears,
Has he really?
and I think it's on like maybe halftime. Oh, it's the fourth quarter. But anyways, yeah, he's been
I
sacked
need to see
multiple
him
times.
sacked. Yeah, a good bit. I want to see multiple sacks in the game. I want to see it from our defensive line or an edge rusher as opposed to a safety. Um, I, that's really it, right? I would also like to see some more creative play calling, but I don't know that I'm gonna get that, so I'm not gonna set that expectation. We have to see pass rush. I think if we get Baker down a number of times in that game, we win.
If we affect him at all, right? Like that's the thing that I felt was most concerning is that he either had all day to throw or he could break contain and have all day to run. So,
Hmm.
like, I don't feel like the defense affected him very much. They didn't get him off schedule. They didn't make him feel uncomfortable. Didn't make him rush throws, much if any, right? Like, and that's what I want to see. You know, sacks are the statistic to back it up, right? But at the end of the day, you got to affect the quarterback, and we
Yeah,
didn't do that very well at all on Sunday.
yeah. I need to see the statistic because if you do have that number in in the box score, you had more impact than just that, right? It's just that one thing that's recorded, but that says that you were around and doing things.
I don't even want to put it out there, but I definitely have a question that maybe I'll ask later on the season if it gets there. Um,
I want you to ask it, but before you do, I'd like for you to answer that question. What do you need to see?
I need to see Bijan run the freaking ball. I need to see us run the ball, not
Yeah,
just Bijan, Tyler too. Like we need to break 100 yards rushing from our running backs, and I need to see the same thing. I need to see us affect the quarterback. We do those two things, and we win. Right? Like I think we have enough firepower. We have enough weapons. Even if Drake is sidelined, between you know Casey Washington, Ray, Kyle Pitts, and Bijan catching balls. Like I think we got enough. If we can run the ball effectively, we should be efficient in the passing game. I loved what I saw from Michael Penix on Sunday. He just needs to keep doing what he's doing, and then I think our defense as a whole, if we can start affecting the quarterback, getting some sacks, right? The rest of the defense will statistically do better.
yeah. Quarterback scared, man. Your DBs are having an easier job.
So the hypothetical I was gonna say is like, what happens if we are last in the league or at the bottom of the league again in sacks? What are the repercussions? What are the ramifications?
Terry, and you know my stance. That's not necessarily something that he can affect once the season has started, but that means that the recipe that he cooked up, the dish that he served us, uh, had no taste, no salt, no pepper.
Yeah. I can honestly say it bothered me that the rookies didn't have more of an impact on the game. However, they are rookies. I can extend them, far more grace than I can a Leonard Floyd, a veteran who we signed in the offseason to give us some pass rush help that honestly I didn't notice him on the field.
Mike Bell made that same joke. He's like, "Did he even play?"
I saw his number a couple times, but I had to look it up. I had to look up and say, what number is Leonard Floyd? Because if I didn't know, he wasn't out there because he didn't impact the game.
I mean, it just felt very bland. It was a mirror of the offense. There was no pop. There was no. It wasn't what I was looking for. I didn't see anything that stood out, except for Divine Diablo, and that was really just for the first half where he was just everywhere. But that's because he was having to do more than he probably should have had to do. Right, he's covering up for. I tell you, I'm kind of over AK. Arnold Ebiketie is. I think that's a failed experiment. I don't need to see him on the field as much as he is on there.
I'm almost there with you. I definitely think his tenure has been mostly a failure. But I did like, I mentioned it earlier, I liked what I saw out of Xavier Watts. I
Yeah,
liked some things I saw with Caden Ellis. Uh,
I like Kalen Ellis. Yeah,
but I need to see more, right? Like, and even Rukaroro, like he flashed, but we need some consistency. And those guys are young, right? Like hopefully some of that consistency comes with time. Uh, Rook's only in his, is it his third season or second?
second.
Um, so again, I want to see the rookies. I want to see the young guys impact the game. Um, but the ones that have shown flashes just need some more consistency, and we'll be all right.
It wasn't Zach Harrison. You reminded me now. It was one of the young guy out of Washington, or maybe it was. Obviously, it wasn't Braylon Trice, but the guy he came in with Braylon Trice. Um, we won't have to think about it now, but he's in his second year, and he didn't get a ton of time last year. It was more special teams, but he was drafted. He was highly touted draft pick. Uh, but that said, I'm hopeful still. I really do like what I see out of Michael Penix. I know Bijan is a man. I still feel like we go as far as he's going to carry us. He couldn't carry us very far through Vita Vea with a line that lacked cohesion because they didn't have any in-game experience before that game. So we are 0-1. I think we turn around next week.
So we did our
We got to get a little.
predictions, right? Like we did our week by week predictions. I don't recall what
Mhm.
you predicted. I may have it written down actually. Um,
I
but
I called for a win. I think you said a loss, right?
I believe I called for a win. I'm gonna see if I got it real quick. Um, any changes? You still feel
No.
confident in your prediction?
Less so. I'm not gonna change it though. Like we come out with that same vanilla offense and defense to play calling, man. It's not. No one's gonna be surprised by any of that.
All
If you
right.
can't keep people off their toes and you don't have the talent to just dominate, which I don't think we do, it's not gonna work.
We both have a W going into next week, and I'm
Okay.
gonna stand on it too. I think we get one back. I think JJ McCarthy. You know, I said it in my original prediction. I'm not sold on him. He did just throw his first career touchdown, so congratulations to him. It was to Justin Jefferson, which I have on my fantasy team. So I am
Make it easy.
grateful. Yeah. So with that being said, just want to end it with a real quick high and low.
From the parking garage to the penthouse, no one takes you on more highs and lows than Atlanta sports. Let's me, you, your mama, and your cousin too get on this elevator. Don't touch the button. We got you locked in. My low, the Braves. Um, that close. I did not know that he got close of the month. That's his point. That's not my low, but Sunday and Saturday. So this past 2 days, we shoot on Mondays. People, just a reminder. Their score deficit was 28-4, and that's ridiculous. It's very close to another number that I won't say. Too close to it for comfort, but I can't wait for the season to be over for the Braves.
What about a high? Give me a high.
My high was there were two. So the Euros are going on, the Euro League basketball, and we have some European players on our squad too that are starters, predicted starters. Porzingis, in a losing effort, went crazy. He had like 37, 9, and 5, like 5 blocks. And I know that's against European competition, but a lot of European players play in the league now, right? Their level of competition is way higher than it was in the past. So I think he's playing against some good people. Seeing that was like, yes. Now I don't want him to keep playing. I want him as healthy and fresh as he can for the season. But the other thing was our rook should have been rookie of the year last year. He was cooking too. Like he had a couple of tween crosses that just looked crazy. So Zachary Ricochet, both of those guys playing in the summer gave me a lot of encouragement for the Hawks because I needed something after the Braves and then the Falcons lost, man, I was just reaching, grasping for straws for sports optimism. So I found it in our foreign Hawks players.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I'll say for me, my low was pretty much what we've talked about all night. I'll kind of couple that on with just a lackluster performance from the Bulldogs on Saturday against Austin P. They got the W, but they definitely have. I have some concerns. I have a lot of concerns. I could talk probably a whole nother hour about the Georgia Bulldogs, but that was kind of a low on the weekend. Was just the way that they came out and played flat. Um, and then for me, the high, getting that week one dub in the fantasy league that we've had for, gosh, 20 years plus with the boys, and stealing one against last year's champion Demo, who we plan to bring on here for as a as a guest real soon, because he is a fan of one of the teams on our schedule. So we're gonna bring in him in here to talk about that. But getting that first week dub, uh, definitely a high for me. Now I am in two leagues, and the other league did not go as well. I'm still very optimistic about my team, but the Baltimore Ravens collapse last night sunk my ship. So we'll just leave it at that.
There were some great memes for that Ravens Bills game. One of them was Happy fighting Bob Barker on the course. Price is wrong, Bobby. Other one was the Undertaker. Oh, there's another one with Peter Griffin. Social media is undefeated. I too got a. I think I got a win. Yeah, I don't think he has anybody left going. I snuck into a league because I missed the draft, the original draft. It was a money league. The original draft was supposed to be on Labor Day, the actual day of, and I was celebrating my nephew's birthday. Shout out Big Jace, big 10-year-old, double digits. So I missed that. But I snuck in one. I got a decent team, and I actually kicked some ass this week. So we'll see how it goes.
You need to rejoin the old league. Get back with us.
We talked about it.
We talked
I
about it
told
during the
Theo, I'd
draft
be.
too. There
Did you?
may yeah, because there may be a spot. Theo's about ready to give someone the boot. So
I think that might have the boot may have felt through just because it's the day of the draft in particular that's challenging for that person. Was it Tamu?
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Tamu's like, look, man, every Labor Day I have something going, right? Whether it's the restaurant or vacation. I don't. Why I get it, right? You want to make sure all of when the injuries or anything that can go wrong has went wrong, but you can draft a week earlier.
Yeah, I mean I don't mind drafting that weekend, but maybe not doing it on Monday night. But I don't know. We've been doing it that way for
Frequently, I'm out of town.
yeah. So, anyways, we appreciate everyone who's stuck around with us this uh hour long. So we'd like to hear from you. Hit that notification, smash that subscribe button, leave us a comment. I want to know what you thought of our opening week loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and what do you think we're going to do next week against Minnesota? I'd love to get some other predictions in here, see who's right. Um, but, anyways, appreciate it. Come back for some more next week, hopefully with the W.
Rise up, baby. We still in here. We gonna get it done.
Peace.
Peace.